We are back. This is the CJ and Hiller podcast. Welcome. We're happy to get on here and spend time together, talking about things we enjoy and try to make the world a little more informed around healthcare, self care, and being the best versions of ourselves. Okay. Our goal for this podcast is three things: spend quality time having meaningful conversations, to share our stories, living a lifestyle that prioritizes health while still chasing goals in everyday life. And number three, share our unique perspective of both having careers across spectrums of healthcare and how that impacts the way we view health and life overall. If you like our conversation and learn something from them or ask a question, please share the episode, like the episode, subscribe to the channel so that we can continue to do more of the things we like to do. So one thing I like to do with True Health when I hop on a phone call, when I get in front of somebody for a meeting, when we're talking about goals, is two positives. This all started when I started my True Health 101 online class. And, we would check in for the week. And when we check in, it was always like, hey, what was one positive? What was one negative? And I decided pretty quickly, like, there's enough negativity out there, so let's just scratch that and force two positives, right? So we're going to start with that today, practice a little gratitude, throw out two positives. So, Hiller, what's going on and what are two positives? It can be around health, business, family, doesn't matter, anything, life in general. But two positives in the last couple of days, last week or so.
Two positives. Grateful for another healthy baby doctor's appointment.
Hiller's having a baby.
Very happy about that. And then I started diving into tracking grams of protein that I've been taking.
Nice.
And I've been consistent with that and journaling how I feel versus, I work out or not, and just I want to see how that it really impacts me. And
Yep.
So I've had more bad days than good days, and I have found it's extremely hard to consume the necessary amount of calories and grams protein. That the target was a TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, calculate my basic metabolic rate and all that, and then trying to add weight,
Yep.
not aggressively, but
Yeah.
it's hard. It's a different way of life for me right now to try to focus on that.
Yeah. Which is good. And everybody wants to know, what's your number? What's the grams of protein that you're trying to hit?
What I'm trying to hit is so a gram per body weight in pounds, but I have a goal of I'm going for more than that. My goal is 200.
200.
I've hit days where I've hit 323, and I've hit days where I've hit 114.
Then 300. That's like eating a whole cow just all day.
Yeah. My lunch and my dinner, an hour of eating and so,
that's a tired jaw.
yeah, it's not it's work. It's not fun. So I'm trying to figure out ways to maybe not eat that much and then have a shake in between, because it's hard to eat that many calories. But I'm trying around, I think it's just shy of 3,600 calories.
Okay. Yeah. More calories, which is different for you. You're a lean guy. I would say we're very similar in the sense of, like, it's easier to not eat, right? Like, we can get away with it and it's fine. you can hit the protein goal, but then you turn around and hit 200 grams again the next day, and again the next day. Like it is work for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, 320, that's impressive.
Uh, I have a coach, and I like believe in like good relationships on my wife and good friendships, like what we're doing, but also sometimes you need a coach in like other aspects of life, whether that would be like therapy or fitness or some kind, and that's what True Health can offer that well to other people. And I don't want to monopolize your time, and I know you have to help out other people, so I reached out here in Rochester, and I have a coach that I'll check in with every now and then, and she said, well, first response was that much protein. She's like, "Holy cow, are you constipated?" I'm doing okay, but I understand like that's a lot for the body to figure out. But that's enough about me. We'll talk about what uh, two two positives from this week, or I guess this month you had a birthday recently, so
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely have to say that's a positive. Just turned 31 on Sunday. And excited, it didn't really bother me turning 30, other than the fact that, it's like, wow, it's a whole new decade. I'm probably more excited for 31 and just like 30s in general. Definitely a positive. I feel like, the people I listen to, the Gary V's, the Alex Hermosis, um, you know, it, some of the other like business people are just like, your 20s are just grinding. And it definitely was, from college to PT school to getting experience and gaining experience. It was just a grind. And so to be in the 30s, and I don't know if it was Gary Vee or who said it, I think it was him, but like build in your 30s, right? Grind in your 20s, build in your 30s, and it definitely feels like that. So that's probably why it's such a positive and feels good. It's a weird feeling, when you grind for that long and you're just working all the time, or like just trying to figure stuff out, and don't really have your feet solid on the ground, and then to be a little bit more in that space. It's a weird feeling, it feels a little uneasy. So that's definitely a positive. And it was an awesome day. Got to spend it with my family, with my wife and my son, and he just had a birthday not too long ago, and one of his favorite parts was making a cake. Not even the cake itself, just making the cake. And he wanted to make a cake. And so he did that. And that was super cool. Uh, so that was one. And then two, um, oh shoot, I'd say workouts have been feeling good. And that's been a super positive, and it's been that consistency with the protein. I've been able to hit that intensity that I want to feel like, okay, I'm getting better, and then the next day hitting that intensity again and feeling like I'm getting better. We're at CrossFit Smoke Show. And it's fantastic. The workouts are great. I love it. It holds me accountable to eating good, because I know I'm going to have to go in there and push myself. And if I can't push myself, it's because I made bad decisions. And so that cycle of like, if I want a good workout, I need to eat good. If I'm going to eat good, I'm going to work out well. And so figuring that out, I'd say good workouts have been feeling really good right now. So yeah.
that's awesome.
Well, tell the
Yeah,
tell the people what we have in store for today.
yeah, life happens to everybody, and so we're finally being able to rekindle our flame of getting back together on our podcast here. I think we might have missed a couple of months, but that's okay. We never had any chance of any thoughts of not doing it. It was trying to find time to get back together. So we have a little bit of a fun podcast planned for today, and we're just going to do some pop-up questions, some back and forth between us, and we have some deep questions and some simple questions, and in order for us to stay on topic, I think I should ask the question first because then I won't talk too much. And so, first things first, so we're going to start with one of the easier ones and just go with what Cole has here. Is I'm going to ask him what his favorite color is. I think I have a guess, but I guess I don't know for sure.
Yeah. I like it. Appreciate you starting simple. I'm gonna go with red.
Gosh, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say like a blue or a green.
Yeah, sometimes I always think like I float around blue as my favorite color, and I don't know why. Because like red, I like the boldness of it. I like it, you know. I think I like it, and it like set in with me. One, it's my high school colors. You know, throw back to that. I always got to love the black and red. It always just looks so sharp. And then two, I think I saw a stat somewhere sometime long time ago. Probably made it up. But when red is worn in the championship game, they win like 80% of the time, 90% of the time, or some super high percentage of the time. And so I'm like, it's a winning color. Winners wear that color. So now it's my color.
Uh,
Now it's my favorite color.
I think the Patriots and Tiger Woods alone probably made that
That's fair.
statistic high.
Yeah, Tiger took it from like a 30% stat to a 99%, 98% stat.
Championships with red on.
There we go.
You're like, damn, come on, what are you doing? And the red, white, and Patriots, and then Tom Brady wore red at Tampa Bay,
Yeah,
and then Joe Montana wore red in San Francisco.
yeah.
They're like,
Keep it
holy,
going.
yeah.
Somebody fact check us.
I wear a lot of black and gray, which
Same.
is not a illustration of my life, thank goodness. But my favorite color is probably blue,
Okay.
and the roots would go back to my high school. But those are really hot, influential years.
Yeah.
So I don't own a lot of blue right now. That I just happen to be wearing right at this moment.
Yeah.
But I would say, yeah, blue.
Blue. Love it.
All right,
All right.
Cole. One meal that you could eat every single day for a year, or if you were stranded on an island,
Yeah.
and you could
And
one.
it's not only like one meal that you get to pick during the day that stays the same. This question is like 3 times a day, the
Yeah,
same meal
you're eating
every
this.
day. You're eating this for a year.
Yeah,
Um,
this Dakota would die. She would not survive.
I'd be all right. I think, I don't know if I'm cheating the system. If it was like one single food, I'd pick like a steak, right? But that's just like being picky. If I could pick a meal to eat, I feel like I eat the same thing every day anyway. And so if it was gonna have all the protein I needed, all the carbs I needed, right, and then you eat that 3 times a day, it's gonna hit that number. I would probably go with some scrambled eggs because I eat those every day anyway. So it's kind of like I already do this. Um, and then maybe some oatmeal, right, with some frozen fruit in there just to sweeten it up a little bit. It's a lot of eggs. So if I could throw some meat in there, if that's cheating, whatever, I'll just say eggs, and then maybe some oatmeal for just something, a little substance in there, and then some fruit and maple syrup on top of that. That's what I had for breakfast this morning, and honestly, like I think I could eat that 3 times a day every day for a year.
You're already living it.
I'm already living it. I'm already halfway there. I'm already a third of the way there. Let's just go 99% of the way.
Holy cow. Well, mine would be, I could do tacos.
Tacos.
Yeah.
Tacos are
Tortilla,
good.
meat, veggies, sauce.
There you
Boom.
go. There you go. And that's like you could maybe like switch up the sauce, right?
Yeah.
Like it's still the same thing, still the same meal. Yeah, I think that's a good one. And it's funny how you like, we tend to eat this way in general, but like we put that protein together, we put that carb in there, and you
Yep.
put some fruits and veggies in there, you get a little fat going on, right? I'd try to throw some peanut butter maybe in that meal for a little healthy fat. That would be good too. But yeah, I'm breakfast all day. I'm team breakfast. So team breakfast or team tacos? We gotta know. That can be the comment for the video. Team breakfast or team tacos?
Oh boy, I am tacos till the cows come home.
We can get some fancy people and go team breakfast tacos.
Yeah, those I'm there too.
All right. Let's give you a hard one. We'll lead with this
Oh,
one.
wonderful.
What is
Here,
one skill or trait that will serve you well as an adult or something you have heard?
oh, I've heard on a podcast recently. I'm gonna get them blended between the ones I've been listening to, so I know exactly to who give credit to. But I've meditated on it. But like when you're mowing the lawn or you're walking the dogs or you're doing something and you're just thinking, you're just letting your mind think. And I heard this and I just kept thinking about it, and it's your ability or your threshold to suffer. Like how much suffering can you go through? Um, and I think there's all kinds of degrees of that, but I would say that that trait would serve anybody well anywhere.
High threshold to suffer.
Yeah,
I like it. I think that's super cool. And I think it can be applied to so many things, right?
yeah,
Both positively or negatively, spin it how you want. But I can see where, success comes from that, right? It's like the extreme version of delayed gratification. It's like the action behind delayed gratification a little bit too, right? Like, can you suffer now for success later? So
mm,
that's cool.
I
I,
don't know how
you
long
know,
that's.
one skill or trait that would serve you well as an adult. Um, Kind of like being an adult now, I would say I've heard this a million times growing up from my dad, and it rings true to a T, and even more now as a parent, um, even more now as having goals and wanting to chase things. Um, patient, patience, you know. Um, in the words of my dad, it would be patience builds character. And I never wanted to believe it because I heard it way too many times. So I was like, all right, maybe this can't be true. It's true, and then some, right? Both in the small moments, like that trait or that skill, I'll call it a skill, like that skill in the small moments is super huge to have patience. And then I'm realizing like you can't just chase things and go after things and have them come tomorrow. There's also patience there. Um, so patience builds character. That's probably the skill I'd go with.
So having patience. So what we've told our audience is, as an adult, or we told our future kids as they get older, if you can learn how to suffer and be patient while you're suffering, you'll do great.
Right?
It's always
We'll
much.
have to watch this back in like 10 years when we have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old and like see like, hey, do we still believe it? But I think it's kind of that tried and true thing, and we're figuring it out. We would tell our 10 to 12 years ago selves, right? Like the same stuff. So it's cool. It's timeless. But yeah, when you connect the dots like that, it's like, ouch.
Yeah.
little dose of reality for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. um,
Uh,
what's the hardest workout or physical challenge that you have ever done?
um,
Or maybe you haven't done it yet.
maybe I haven't done it yet. I would say the so I have trained for, and I'm very clear about this. I have trained for a half Ironman. Um, the day that I did it, the day that the race day, uh, huge storm came through. They canceled the swim. They shortened the bike a little bit, and then took off. It did ended up doing I think it was a 50-mile bike and then a half marathon. So the run was still the same. But the training for that was probably the most grueling thing I've done, both from the sense of workouts and then just physical challenge. And the physical challenge itself, although shortened and although different, was still the hardest thing that I've done. Um, for sure. There's been some tough workouts, but nothing's quite working out for 4 hours on end between a bike and a run, just back and forth on a July summer day. So that was training for the half Ironman was some of the hardest physical challenges that I've done.
Yeah, maybe someday when I can get stuff figured out, I could actually pretend to do something like that.
It'd be fun. Time is the biggest factor, and hats off to anyone that's doing it and accomplishing it and achieving it, but it's the time investment, just to train for it, something that goes on for that long is super hard. So hats off to anyone doing that. I'm just not in the spot to do the time. The last time I did it, I was a senior in college, and I not going didn't have very many classes, didn't really have that many obligations or responsibilities, so it was much more doable.
Yeah, I would have to figure out how to make time in
Yeah.
that.
How about you? Hardest physical challenge you've ever done?
It kind of sounds lame, but a marathon is pretty hard.
Oh my God.
Um, but I will say that although the race was hard, training for it was 2 times as tough.
Really?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, so we ran grandma's, so it's Father's Day weekend in June, and
Okay.
we were training from January till, and so
Brutal.
that's long, just building up that base to
Yeah.
run the race. And then, you know, I think I'm getting fitter, so I can't say that Murph was the hardest physical challenge I've ever done. I think it's
Yeah.
up there with one of the ones that I've done that is hard, but I don't
Yeah.
know if it's the most physical one.
But yeah, and that's just a mad respect type of workout, right? Like it's supposed to be hard, right? Maybe not the hardest thing you've ever done, but if you've been working out consistently, then you can grind through that. And you should, it is a grind, and it's to honor those that have served, and the meaning behind it is the reason for the suffering, right?
Yeah,
And workouts like that are cool because you push that threshold on suffering, right? Your willingness to suffer is very evident in a workout like that. And this was the first time you did it with a vest,
yeah,
completed it.
yeah. And didn't have any, crazy goals other than trying to finish around an hour.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that, so was happy with that.
There you go.
But I think this question just makes me think of like what else what's out there that I could think of that we could, you know, suffer through. I heard a guy that, you know, has started this 12-hour walk. You can get a bunch of people together and walk for 12 hours. You can walk continuously, you can take breaks, you can wear a vest.
Yeah.
That would be something crazy to do on a weekend.
For sure.
Wake
Yeah.
up at 4 in the morning and just start walking.
Yeah. Not stop.
Yeah.
Stop if you need to. That's the thing, I think, you know, and diverting a little here, but like just doing something, you know. I'll spin it into what keeps you motivated. Do you have to have a challenge in order to keep yourself motivated? Do you have to have like a small short-term goal followed by another small short-term goal, or like what do you do? Like what keeps you motivated?
My younger self, not that much younger self, would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to have a small challenge or you know, something to train for or something to do this, and then I'm in a very good, happy place, you know, physically, mentally, that I feel good, that my body allows me to work out every single day when I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I scour the internet about challenges like, you know, Ragnar and the races and stuff like that. And I'm trying to get people at my work to just to encourage them to do a relay marathon. So
Yeah.
we total the 26.2, but we tag off to each other.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just think that was something. But I've kind of grew up with a chip on my shoulder, and I still feel like I have that. And so in regards to my professional life and my fitness and stuff like that, I always have that.
You're still there.
Oh no, what happened?
I still see you.
I know, but the timer stopped over. Do you see that? Or not for you?
No, we're good.
Okay. Well, so I am like always, you know, told that, you know, it's too soon to do that. You can't do this, or you do this, or you know, don't do this, or you shouldn't be whatever. And I'm just always like, okay. And I just say, like, in my head, I'm just like, all right, well, watch me. I'm gonna now. You just lit the fire, and you just told me that you don't think I can do that. That's all I needed to hear. All I needed to hear is one person say that they don't think I can do it, whether whoever it
Yeah.
is. You know, like
Right.
I tell people that people are like, I told you the whole, you know, doing no added sugar for 2024,
Yep.
and we're in June,
Yep.
and people are like, "You're still doing that?" I'm like, "Yeah." Oh, I couldn't do that. Or when I first tell them, oh, and then they just, you know, they just try to, you know, try to just tear it apart. They're like, so what counts? Does this count? Does this count? Does this count? Can you do this? Well, you're not really doing it if you're doing this. And I was like, okay, but who's doing it?
Right.
You're tearing it apart, and you're the one over there eating a bag of chips that has 12 grams of added sugar in front of me, telling me I
Right.
can't,
Yeah.
as there's
That's all you need.
donuts in the nurse's station and that people are eating. And I'm not eating it. And they're like, do you want it? And I'm like, yeah, I want it. And I'm like, but I
Yeah.
can't have it.
Right. And just, yeah, set that standard for yourself and take some of that external motivation and turn it into internal motivation, right? Like, fuel the fire, right? And so that's super cool. And I think that matters. There's
Maybe
always motivation out there.
maybe that's a red flag, and maybe that's, you know, I have a wonderful wife that I do that she's able to support me in that and doesn't find that to be a major
Right.
turn. But because some people that can be, somebody who acts like that, they can't be around. So I'm very thankful for her because
Hmm.
she's driven as well. So
Yeah, that's cool. It makes all the difference to have that support system and have that structure in the house too that's similar, right? And like-minded and equally motivated. So it's super cool. And you just, again, you find the next best thing, right? You find the next challenge. You find the next thing to, cause a little suffering, have a little patience, have
Mhm.
it pay off. And then on to the next one, which, has been really cool and really fun. I think that's you have to do that, to keep it interesting.
I'll have to bounce it right back to you then.
Yeah. What keeps me motivated?
Yeah.
Probably that, something to prove, right? Like, and just living life that way is like, I know what the easy thing to do is. What, I know what's not being done. I know I could always do better. Um, but just that, like, could I do better? And if the answer is yes, then I'll try again the next day. If it's not in the cards for that day, it is what it is. But
And
it's something to prove to myself,
yeah.
more than anything. But um, I think just living that life, right? Something to prove. If you don't have something to prove, I think you're lying. I think you should. Something to prove to yourself more than anything, but also to others, to the people you care about, to the people that count on you, and that's at the end of the day is what's going to make the difference. So that's my motivation. Is just can I prove it? We all have dreams and goals and motivations and reason for doing things, but can you actually do it?
And yeah, like you said, just staying true to yourself. Like if you have a off day, it's not, you know, that's not, you're not defined by that off day, and still
Yeah,
prove to yourself that you just prove to yourself that you can bounce back and still go after it again, even though if you had a day that you didn't feel like you were yourself.
for sure, for sure.
How do you define happiness and how do you cultivate it?
It's a heck of a last question for this episode.
Yeah.
And it's a heck of a question because it's tough. How do I define happiness? I would say like doing something that matters, you know? And I struggle with that happiness because of a little bit of that, right? Suffering, delayed gratification, like it's not the feel good stuff. Um, but my career, right? Like taking care of people, right? You're a nurse, I'm a physical therapist. Like we take care of people for a living. Like we do stuff that matters. That's very rewarding. Um, Happiest when I'm taking care of my family. I'm happiest when I'm taking care of myself, right? Like working out. Like those are the three things that I do daily. So I would say that's my happiness, and then really enjoying every day, right? And like taking those things that I define as happiness and then doing them every day. That's how I cultivate that. So days aren't always great. Sometimes, days are tough, but I would say I'm happy, right? I'm doing what matters, right? I don't have to be smiling and cheerful and joy and enjoying all of it, right? But kind of like filling the soul, so to speak. That's what I think is happiness, and that's doing stuff that matters. And sometimes that can suck, but I think it's still happy. So
Yeah, that's a very deep question, and I would want to hear from our listeners if how they
yeah,
define
says the guy that came up with it.
yeah how they define happiness as well, because we live in a dark world, and
Yeah.
um, wherever your stance is, spiritually or religiously, and just bear with me for a moment, but the the Bible does state that there will be ups and downs, so that part is inevitable. But how we can be happy through that as well.
Yeah.
So what I think about myself a lot is um when you're on a high and you're feeling good and you're happy and things are going well, I have this almost toxic trait to where I immediately I'm happy and I flip and I think, well what bad's gonna happen next?
Mhm.
This good isn't gonna last forever. It's gonna come back down. On the flip side, when you're down here, it's not gonna last forever either. But I have this problem, and I'm getting better at it, is that when things are going well, I'm like, well, how long is it gonna last? Do I deserve for it to last long up here?
Mhm.
Because we're talking about patience and suffering down, and then we're down here again. And do I am I supposed to suffer? How long am I supposed to suffer for? How can I be happy down here? How long am I allowed to be happy? And you go back and forth and back and forth, and there's gonna be ups and downs, and that's okay. And I define happiness as allowing yourself to, or giving yourself the time to do things that benefit someone else before you. There's a lot
That's cool.
of research out there that shows that giving first leads to happier people.
Mhm.
And it's really hard in today's world because there's a lot of self-help books that are talking about taking care of yourself and doing everything for yourself first. But there is a lot to say about helping others, and that will build you up. Now, maybe that's because I have something in my life that I'm doing that already matters. My career, I feel like it matters. I feel like I have a great job. I feel like what I'm doing is helping people. And if you're not in that boat, you have you'll have a different perspective. But I cultivate happiness by how I'm helping other people. So how am I helping other people at work before I come home? How can I serve my wife and cultivate happiness in the home? Soon
Mhm.
it'll be how can I cultivate happiness with a little one in the house and with my extended family. How can I what can I do for my parents and everything? I'm just constantly thinking about what I can do for somebody else that is coupled with what you're saying that will matter to them. Something that matters to them that I can help them with. And that brings me happiness to help them, but I'm also being able to help them. Um, but I would
For sure.
good to see what everyone else says because there's a lot to the question. I don't think there's an actual. I don't know if you were to look it up, if there's an actual definition of happiness.
Boy, in the dictionary. No, I mean, I get what you're saying. That's why it would be cool to see, like, hey, what's your definition of happiness?
Yeah.
Because it's different for everybody for different reasons. And I think, like, that definition of someone else would give you, like, insight to a reason for happiness or a definition of happiness that you wouldn't even think of. because you can't think of it that way because you don't have that experience and those life decisions and choices, in order to make them. So I think that would be super cool, and
But
share your definition of happiness in the comments and let us know. Like, we're always looking to learn from other people.
it's so perspective driven. Like
Hmm.
your life experiences are going to, come to the surface, and when you try to define happiness, because I just pulled it
Yep.
up and it says happiness is the state of being happy. How's that helpful?
Never mind. Thanks, Webster.
Yeah.
Um, but I think three big takeaways from our episode today, right? And is that like selflessness, right, and doing what matters for others, right? Putting others first in order to be happy, right? Selflessness, the suffering, and how much can you handle suffering, and then patience. Can you have the patience to achieve it in the moment, right? Be patient in the moment, and then for the long term. So it's cool how there's that short term and that long term for each and every one of those things. And that's kind of what we wanted to take away from today was, hey, let's pepper some questions at us and then see what those takeaways are. And I think, mission accomplished for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bob. Cool. All right, guys. Well, enjoy the night, enjoy the evening. We got another episode coming your way pretty soon. We're going to flip the script. We did a step by step kind of through Hiller's life and how he got to where he got, and where he's at now, succeeding and expecting a baby. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
And we'll flip the script next time, and we'll do it on my own. Right? So,
Yeah.
and that one will be out soon.
All right.
Awesome. Like it, subscribe it, comment. Let us hear your thoughts. Give us your definition of happiness. Let's see what you got.
Yes.
All right.